are you looking up tonight? Mulling under the moonlight. Never thought to let it go. Soul searching out of your window. Daylight, never sleep unless your head's by mine. Holding on to what we call divine. Do you think we're running out of time? Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Daylight rushes in over your emerald eyes. Guess that means that we're all out of time. Like a dream, you only come out at night. Am I crazy? Watch the sun as it's fading. Can't believe I'm waiting around on you. So complicated. I thought that you would leave it, yet here we are under the moon. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side.
Don't forget to hashtag, guys. Make City great again. Hashtag MCGA. Don't forget to hashtag. Hello, guys. Welcome to the stream and another installment of Touchline Talk. Normally, this would have been the Knobcast with Gasky, the United fan. He really wanted to be here, obviously, because United won the derby, but he's sadly caught up with work, so he can't come today. So apologies for that. So this was supposed to be a discussion about the Manchester derby and also just from like a United perspective as well. But I'm not ducking that. He messaged me saying he can't come. So apologies for that. But I thought what we would do instead is, this isn't really going to be a transfer video per se. There is going to be a discussion on that. But the main thrust is because, and it's sort of informed by like a realization that I had watching the derby. And I mentioned it on LB's show just then. I have mentioned it in the week on Mo and Top 6 as well. If you look at the starting lineup from the derby, I reckon around 6 of those players you're looking at and going, yeah, you are a player who I want to be starting in like a title-winning campaign. And that got me thinking, like, realistically, how many players in the current City squad are that? How many players do we actually want to keep? And because we're all talking about a rebuild. We're talking about these players might need to go. But I thought it would be quite helpful if we could visualize that. So I've got my tactics board. I'm not going over there. I've just got it here in front of me. So the idea is I've got the entire City squad on the tactics board. I've also got some positions, just like, like a general, positions like goalkeeper, central midfielder, left back, etc., etc. And we can basically go, right, these players to go, therefore, which players needs to come in. So I thought that would be like a nice way to structure today's stream and today's show. So I do really hope you guys enjoy it. As always, this is an interactive show, so please feel free to get involved in the chat. I can see your comments there. I can see your comments there. Left or right, I cannot escape you. So that's a thing. Shout out to LB, of course, for the raid. And please make sure to leave a like on the video as you are coming in. So this is as I say, this is my trusty tactics board. And don't worry, as I say, guys, I can still see your comments here and I can still see them there as well. And this is a question, a very good question. And this is, again, hopefully something that we can visualize and try to answer, because it might be, from like some of you, it might be that you think, oh, maybe only 4 players need to go. But you may conclude that actually we might need 7, 8, 9, 10 players to go. And if that's the case, then it might take actually the rebuild as a whole might not even be finalized until Pep's contract is up. So that's something that we are going to chat about today. So I've got, as I say, I've got the whole City squad on the left. I don't think I've missed anyone out there on the left. If I have, let me know. But I'm pretty sure I've got everyone. I've also included youth players. So I've included Wright, O'Reilly, McAtee, JSP, etc. And I haven't included Scott Carson, but I don't think that's, relevant in all honesty. But I think I've got everyone there. How many are there, in fact? 4, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, 20. There's 25 players there. That seems about right. In terms of City squad. And then on the right, I actually missed Echeverry as well. You're absolutely right. Let me just pop those names in. You're absolutely correct. Perrin, didn't even think about him. But yeah, Echeverry, I forgot about him. I don't know how to spell his name, but I popped him in there. So that's hopefully sorted now. There we go. Pick up Scott Carson. Shush. So there we have it. I think this is now the whole squad. I'm not including Scott Carson, guys. It's not happening. And on the right here, I've got positions where we can just throw them in, and then maybe we can have a chat about what sort of players that we need to bring in. If Bruno isn't that good, then you won't mind us taking him off your hands, would you? You wouldn't mind taking him off your hands. Wilson Esbrand. Okay. I've not included him because I think there is literally zero hope of him having a City future. So in fairness, I haven't included him. Pep's been too loyal, says Staffy. We need a clear out. We need a lead. This is future. Do we need a right back? I don't think so. We need a centre back, left back, DM, and left wing. If we sign Chumani, we don't need to get 2 players for centre back and central defence back, because he can play both. I think we do need a right back, personally, Spartacus, and we'll get into that. Don't disrespect the goat. Right. Okay. Let's begin, shall we, with, I think this is maybe the easiest category. On the right-hand side here, on this area here, the right-hand side, yeah, I'm going to have place. In fact, I should have done this preparation beforehand. I think I can maybe do a what's it? I think I can do some text. I'm just going to do that real quick. So, if I do I've forgotten. I've never done text before with this tactical board. I've forgotten how to do it. Here we go. So, no, wait. Guys, okay, no, never mind. I can't do the thing. I wanted to do a cute thing for you guys, but I'm technically incompetent, and my widgets are all popping off, so never mind, I can't do that. Anyway, back to the board. Back to the board. Right, so on the right-hand side, we're going to have players to get rid of. In the middle, we're going to have players who are squad rotational players. And on the left, we're going to have players who we absolutely need to keep and players who we think are good enough to start in a title-winning team next season. I think that category is the easiest, so I'm going to start with that. Rodri, for example, obviously, he's there. He's locked in as a player who's definitely going to... a player who you look at on the team sheet and you go, yes, you are starting in a title-winning team. He won the Ballon d'Or last season. He's the best defensive midfielder in the world. There is no question mark about that. Rodri is locked in. Another one is going to be... Oh my God, have I forgotten Ruben Diaz? I'm such a fraud. Oh, no, I haven't. Never mind. Ruben Diaz is, again, another player who is a locked-in starter in terms of a title-winning Manchester City team. He will hopefully be from next season our captain. He's one of the best box defenders in the world. He's a leader. He's the right age as well. These these two players are some of the only players in the squad who are sort of like the correct age in terms of like their like prime, like sort of like late 20s, but not too late in their 20s. I think they're both 27 or 28. So they're like in their locked in physical prime. So obviously those two are in there. Another one, of course, is Phil Foden, 24 years old. You know, like a youth diamond, whatever you want to say. Of course, you know, player of the year last season. Obviously, Foden's going to be a player who you say, right, he's going to be in the first team starting next season. Of course, that's a thing. Maybe, yeah, if you guys give me a list of like your players who you think as well. I've got my own list, and we can, if we have a disagreement, we can and ah about that. But let me know. Remember, I'm not talking about players who are going to be in the squad. I'm talking about who is locked in. You will definitely start. Another one for me is obviously, I mean, for everyone, show Toby. Another, obviously, Haaland. Obviously, there is no question. I don't even know if I need to even like go into more detail about that. I will do though, for argument's sake. He's the best striker in the world. It's Erling Haaland. Is he 23, 24 years old? He hasn't even got started in terms of his career. Obviously, we keep him. Remember, I'm looking for diamonds here. I'm looking for you are locked in starting. Another diamond is Guardiola. Has he been making errors over the past couple of weeks defensively? Yes, he has. Exactly, yeah, Guardiola. But he is still, nevertheless, I know it's thrown around, he's a unicorn profile in respect of a defender. He's technically a centre-back, but he can also go left-back, he can also go left wing, and he can go to advanced midfield. I think there's a world where he can go into more of a central area as well. So I'm now just going to move some of these players down just to make some space, just to make it really obvious that this is what we're working with. Okay, remember, this is the creme de la creme. These are the players that we need, that I want us to build around. This is our core of players, I think. This isn't just players to keep. This is because we're going to have squad options later. So don't worry about that. So for example, if we've got that area here, so in fact, I can do that, can't I? So we've got this area is for players to lock in. Don't worry about the players on the left. We'll sort that out later. This is for players to rotate. And then over here, we've got players who we either need to sell or, let's be honest with ourselves, they are all going. Now, Nak says that's it for starters. And you know what? Based on what we're going to talk about later, I think I agree. Because I'm talking about bona fide stars right now. Calvin Phillips, shush, shush, shush. I'm talking about bona fide stars who you know full well we are definitely going to build around. Yeah, the Bob one is interesting. I think he could go in there, but there is nowhere near enough of a sample size. I think that he whenever he played last season, I thought he played really well. He's obviously started pre-season brilliantly, fantastic in the Shield. I think he could get into there, but right now, I don't think that he's quite in there. So remember, this doesn't mean that players who I put in the middle are shit and then they will never start. I'm talking about players who basically should be starting almost every single game. Players you don't really want to rotate out, like players we need to build around next season. So they might be too young, they might be blah, blah, blah. You get me? Everyone's talking about KDB, and we'll come to that. We will come to that. Let's maybe do some of the easy ones. Let's get rid of some of the dead wood. Yeah? I think that because that's going to be easy for quite a few of these. Kyle Walker is obviously going to go. He has to go. He has to go. He has to go. As much as it pains me to say, you can't have both Stones and Ake in the same squad anymore. It can't happen. Because they are both injury prone. One of them, at least, is going to have to go. Sadly. And I don't want that to happen, but we can't rely on them both. Especially if we play 4 centre-backs, and that tends to be what we do, you can't have 2 of those centre-backs be a consistent injury issue. You can maybe tolerate having 1 of them. But you can't have both. I'm going to leave that in the ether there, and you guys can let me know who you reckon we should sell. Sadly, I think I'm of the view, and I prefer Stones. I think we have to probably err on the side of keeping Ake and getting rid of Stones. And I think Stones is a better player, but he's more injury prone, I feel like. And the one of the main reasons why Stones is so useful for the squad is because he's a fantastic on-ball defender who can like advance into midfield. We've got Guardiola now, and we've seen that Guardiola can do not to the same degree in respect of like the Stones role, but Guardiola can advance into midfield. Ake, instinctively, it does seem like Ake is less injury prone. LB says if we have the space available, we could bring in another centre back and keep them both. Maybe. I'm going to put them in the ether for now. So they're currently floating between the two, and we can make a final commitment on that later. That's what we can do. Gundogan is going to go. I think his contract expires anyway. So I think that's pretty straightforward. I know that we have the option to sign him on for another year, but I don't think that would make sense. I think that if anything, it probably makes more sense for him to go into like a coaching role at City. I think maybe he'll know that his legs are gone. So I'm putting Gundogan into the camp of he should probably be leaving the squad. That's what I think in terms of Gundogan. And I don't want to say that, but there we go. Oh my god, I didn't even think about homegrown quota. Yes, indeed. I don't know I can't remember the exact mechanics of homegrown, because isn't there something like if you sign a player from another club who's played there for a while, that counts as homegrown? For example, I'm sure that when we signed Clichy from Arsenal, I'm sure because he'd spent enough time at Arsenal, he counted as homegrown. I don't know what the exact mechanics of it are. I'm sure there's some weird loopholes, because it's not just English players, is it? There's also something to do with like Academy players. I'm going to deal with a couple of pretty obvious squad players now. Kovacic, for example, is exactly that. We should not be, in my view, selling Kovacic. I think that it makes more sense to keep him. He's still a very useful player. Yeah, no spamming, guys. He's still a very useful player to City. Do I want him to be starting? Not realistically. But he's good enough to do our job. 3 years in the FA register. Oh, before 21. Okay, fairs. Never mind. Okay, that's interesting. I've got Nico O'Reilly here. Don't worry. Under Nor. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, so Kovacic we keep, but he's not a diamond. We don't start him. He was brought in to be a squad player. Use him as a squad player. He's a good signing, EA. And this is why he's in the middle category. He's in the squad option. He's in the rotational option. But hopefully this so far has illustrated my point. I've only got 5 players who I've got locked in as you are a guaranteed star. I love Savio and I like Doku a lot, but I don't think they are that. And in fact, I'm going to pop Savio and Doku there. I think these players are very good, but we're talking about they're not a star because they are young. I think they're 20, 21 years old. And that just because they're in this squad option doesn't mean that there won't be games that they don't start, obviously. You know, like some of them will have to start, but they aren't locked in star. So I think it's fair enough to put them both in there. And I think that these players could move into the left category. Right now I'm popping them here. And I think that's perfectly reasonable. I think that's perfectly fine. Big up Southpack, how are you? Kova in Cup games, says Sebastian. Kova, Rico, Akanji, says Spartacus. Yes. Again, big fan of Rico. But I don't know if he's ever going to become a diamond. Here's the thing. Savio and Doku could eventually evolve into that. But right now, and it's obviously they aren't that yet. They are 20, 21 years old. So they aren't that yet. Kovacic will never be that, in fairness, at this stage in his career. Savio and Doku, maybe. In fact, I'm going to pop them slightly closer just to illustrate that point. That they are, potentially going to go there at some point. But Kovacic will never get there. I don't know if Lewis will ever get there either. And that's not an issue. And that's absolutely fine. You can put Savio in between the starter and rotation. Yeah. So I've put them slightly over to the left. I think Edison and Grealish belong in the left field. Don't worry, Sebastian. We'll get to those players because I don't know what to think. This is also partly my opinion, but I also want us to think about what is likely to happen in the summer. So, for example, we can get to Grealish. I think there is a likely world from a transfer market perspective where we actually end up selling him. Whatever your thoughts are on him as a player, I actually think that might be likely. With that, I think that, a player like Wright it should also be in this area. It's far too early to say that we should get rid of him. He could have some sort of future at City. I think that he goes in the squad option. And likewise, I've not seen... I don't know anything about Echeverry, so it's only fair to put him in this category as well. I'm putting Bob... Again, I'm going to put Bob closer to erring more towards being a diamond, because I think he could become that. So that's why I'm going to pop them there. In fact, I'm just going to pop Covert there and right there, just because they are a little bit older. I think that's reasonable. There we go. And another one, is Akanji. Akanji was never really brought in to be that guy. Obviously, he has an unbelievable treble-winning season, and even last season, well, I thought he was very good for most of it. But I think, I like Akanji a lot. I think we can improve on that position, personally. I think, because if we're looking at Akanji as a player who can play right back, right centre back, for example, I think we can improve on that. I think Akanji is a perfect utility defender. I think that's what I view Akanji as, because he can play left back, and he can play right back, and he can play right centre back, and he can play left centre back. You guys want him in the starting box? Akanji, best City right back by far. That's an area I think we can improve, though. Right, okay. I'm putting Akanji here, then. I'm not putting him in... Because remember, guys, these are diamonds. These are diamonds who we are locking in as starters. I'm not even going to have 11 players in the... No. Maybe I haven't explained it very well. The left box doesn't mean... Sorry, the middle box doesn't mean you don't start. Because some of these players have to start. Obviously. I don't think I'm going to add any other players on that left side. So it's not starter every game, bench all the time, and ditch. It's just these are players that we need to build around. No, again, the left side isn't a starter's box. It is a diamond box. Yeah? That's what I mean by that. I'm putting Akanji there. You guys can hold that, honestly. I like Akanji, but yeah. Maybe I didn't make that clear enough. It's diamonds. It's stars. It's locked in. We are building around you. Our core. Think about it as the core. Yeah? Our core players. The ones in the middle it doesn't really matter which one starts. For example, let's say we're picking between Savio and Bob. It's not detrimental if one starts over the other. However, it is detrimental if, Wright starts over Rodri. That sort of thing. Thank you to Huang Trong. Fantastic support as always. Thank you, matey. If Edison leaves, it's either Diogo Costa or Chevalier. I don't know who that latter player is, but thank you, Huang, for your super chat. Incredibly generous. Oh, and we got a fortune. Speaking of Haaland. Fortune for Huang Trong. Great name. Even if the person who appears most wrong is also... This fortune's giving me a stroke. I'm going to have to re-speak it. Even the person who appears most wrong is also quite often right. So that's basically saying throw enough shit at a wall and some of it will stick, right? Yeah, great fortune. That well done, mate. These fortune cookies have been clapped recently, I swear down. Anyways, let's pop these players back here. Yes, hopefully that makes a bit more sense in terms of the left field. Controversial is what we've got left. Peroni, I haven't seen enough of him, so I feel like maybe he should go there. Same with, Nico O'Reilly and JSP. I don't think it makes sense to ditch them. I think that's absolutely fine. LB, thank you so much for the tip, matey. Justice for Akanji. Loki, get it, but upset all the same. Thank you so much, mate. Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to abandon these players it makes sense to have them in the squads. That's absolutely fine. They can stay there 100%. So that's absolutely a thing. You know, JSP, Nico O'Reilly, Peroni, blah, 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 blah. Makes sense to keep them in the squads. Fortune for LB, courtesy of Harlem. Try everything once. Even the things you don't think you will like. Okay. Experimentation, LB, clearly. Maybe it's saying something about us. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. Right, okay. This is where it gets contentious with the players that we have left, I think. I would like to keep McAtee in the squad. But the reality is that he's not young anymore, realistically. JSP is Jason Simpson Poozy. How old, can someone confirm, how old is McAtee? I feel like is he 22 or 23? And by he's not young, I mean like he's not Nico O'Reilly, 17, 18 years old. He's not Echeverry, who I think is 18 years old. Or JSP, who I think is 19. This is what I mean. This is it. This is where it goes, exactly. This is where it goes from what do I think to actually what's probably most likely to happen. I think that McAtee has I don't think he has a future at City. And that's a shame because I really like McAtee. Some people are saying he's 21, some are saying he's 22. But you get what he's not a teenager. Like if he was like 17, 18, who I think Nico O'Reilly is around that age, then you go, right, it doesn't really matter. But McAtee's at the age, he's got to start playing. He's got to start playing games for his own sake. So even though I would like him to have a future at City, I think he's probably got to go in that sell category. And that's upsetting. But practically, if we're being honest, he's not got age on his side in terms of just like being able to sit on the bench and having some minutes in the cups. He's got to be starting now. He's got to be starting now. And Southak, I think that maybe that will happen. I think McAtee is a player who will have a very good Premier League career. But such is the situation with City, it becomes very hard to justify keeping him. So I think he's got to go in there. I'm comfortable keeping JSP, O'Reilly, Echeverry, Peroni, Lewis, Wright, etc. in the middle category of squad rotations. McAtee, I think less so. I think we'll look at him as a player to get some money from, sadly. So there we go. I know that this guy is playing well this season in relative terms, but where is he playing well? He's playing well in a position that we did not sign him for. He started more games this season in a position that we never contemplated he would realistically start for us than the position he was brought in for. This is now his second season, and sadly, in respect of the on-ball work, which is what needs to improve from a midfield perspective, it's not gotten better. He's still making cataclysmic errors. So I'm putting Nunes in there. And that's sad. But I just don't know. I don't know if I'm convinced that he's never gonna be in this category. Ever. There is a chance that he belongs in this category. But I just don't know if he's got the requisite quality, to be honest with you. The other issue is that I've never understood why we signed Kova and Nunes in the same window. Never really understood that. Because in terms of like, they're both carriers of the ball. They're both carriers. We don't really need more carriers. We need more passers of the ball. We've got De Bruyne. Let's take this squad, for example. We've got De Bruyne. Foden can be that passer, but he is more of a carrier. In any event. This is why it's also important that we get Bruno Guimaraes, who is more of a passer. This is why we're looking at someone like a Wharton, who is also a passer. The team needs more passers. I can't remember who said the quote, but I love this quote. the ball moves faster than players. I.e., it's all well and good being a great ball carrier, of course, but ultimately, it's passing the ball which is going to get you up the pitch quicker because the ball moves faster than the players. I forgot Doyle. You're absolutely right. Let me just add him now because that's an interesting one. That is an interesting one. Let me just throw him on now. So the way I add players is tricky. I've got to close it and then go there. Doyle. Yes. Because interesting conversations about him as well. There we go. So again, I'm sorry if the Nunes one is a controversial one. I don't think it is. I just don't... I think there is a fundamental level of quality that you need to be. I don't think he gets in there. Doyle, I'm keeping as a squad option. There. Especially given that we need more defenders, I'd like to see him given a go. Or given a shot. So I'm putting Doyle in there. He can play left back, he can play left centre back. So I'm having Doyle in this list here rather than Sell. That's what I'm doing. So again, apologies. And I know he's versatile, Musty. I appreciate that. I think City needs to do better, and I think we can do better. I just don't think he has a future at City. That's what I do. Okay. Now, these might be, I think, the most hotly contested positions here. The two goalkeepers... De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, and Bernardo Silva. The Ortega one is maybe the most interesting. Because if we keep Ederson, Ortega will leave. Because Ortega wants to be the number one. Rightly so. He's good enough to be a number one somewhere else. Here's the way I see it, though. He's not good enough to be a starter for City. So I think that by virtue of what Ortega wants, he's going to go. He's going to go. Because it's either you start him as your first choice, number one, or you sell him. There is no middle ground. He doesn't want to stay as a number two. So by definition, we have to sell him. And I'd love to keep him as a number two. I don't think he's good enough to be a number one. Again, I like him. I like Ortega a lot. But the only way he stays is if he starts as our number one. And I think that's an area we need to improve in. And LB said it. Sadly, I don't want to do this. By the way, I don't want to do this. I would like to keep Ederson. But Ederson, as I understand it, wants to leave the club. So this is where I'm trying to be realistic in terms of what is likely to happen in the window as well. It's not my wishes, because if it was my wish, I would have Ederson here, personally. I would have him as our starting goalkeeper, and I'd say that there's no doubt about it. But sadly, Ederson wants to leave. So I think that we are basically going to have a total goalkeeper rebuild. Remember, just because they're in the right side does not mean I want to get rid of them necessarily. It's partly informed by that, but it's also informed by what is realistically going to happen. And realistically, Ederson was supposed to leave in the summer, as I understand it. But the bid fell through in terms of like the Saudi bid. They didn't put up enough money. We've already so therefore Ederson's gone. So we need to sign at least one more goalkeeper. And I think that goalkeeper's going to have to be the first choice. And if that happens, then by definition, Ortega must also go. So this is why I wanted to visualize it, because the more I was thinking about it, the more I was like, oh my God, we're going to have to sign like at least two goalkeepers potentially in the summer. I know it's Scott Carson, but we're talking about the realistic players who might get some minutes this season. So I think that we need to do that. We can maybe talk about signings later, but first of all, let's try to visualize, just in terms of a numbers perspective, what players do we need to potentially bring in? Right, okay. Kevin De Bruyne, everyone. Kevin De Bruyne. Once again, this isn't what you necessarily want to happen. We also need to consider what is likely to happen. Obviously, on any day, on any regular day, Kevin De Bruyne goes here. Because Kevin De Bruyne is the best, still for me, the best midfielder in the world. And he's still, for me, like, our best player. But he's out of contract in the summer. And as I understand it, he wants to go. I would probably give him like a 1-year extension. Because as we'll get into it, I want us to sign a creative passer who doesn't necessarily have to start immediately. Yeah? And De Bruyne can still be that guy. And De Bruyne... So next season, I would like De Bruyne to go here. You know, not have to start every single game. But again, this is beyond our control. His contract is up. His contract is up in the summer. And I'm trying to be realistic. I don't think that he signs an extension. So if it was my team, and again, I'm trying to do a balance between the two, I would have him here. But his contract is up. Maximum we should be offering him right now is probably 1 year anyway. Would he take 1 year? Probably not. So I think that if we're being realistic, I think he's probably in the get rid of pile. Not because I want him to go, not because I want him to go. Because practically, realistically, that's what's likely to happen. And that's a shame. But I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, if we had to give it sort of like a probability perspective, I think most of us would say it's like, you know, north of like 75% that he's going to leave. Whether that's because he wants to go or whether it's because he wants a contract which is more years than we're willing to give. So I think the most likely outcome is he goes. Again, I would probably have him here. Not to be a guaranteed starter, but to start the hardest games maybe, and to be like that nice transitional player. You get me? So again, I'm trying to be realistic here as much as I can. I think that the most likely outcome is he goes. Whether it's because of what he wants, or whether it's because City not offering him what he wants. Two more controversial players. And the wages are also high, Spartacus, absolutely. Two more controversial players. Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish. Now, these two players obviously don't get into the diamond category. I sadly think my initial instinct is they both probably will go, in all honesty. I think that Bernardo Silva's been wanting to go since before the Euros happened. I feel like that's always been a thing. I like Bernardo a lot. I think now is the time to move on from Bernardo Silva. And again, I like Bernardo Silva. But we know, if you guys saw my tweets recently, we know that he's not really a true outlet on the right anymore. We know that he's not realistically going to contribute to the central area either long term. And you guys know how much I love this player. This guy is probably my favourite player currently in the City squad. I keep saying it. But I think Grealish is going to have to go. And I want Grealish to stay. I love him. But I think that practically, realistically, again, I know it's the words I keep saying, I think we've got to let him go, to be honest with you. And that pains me to say. Big fan of this man. As you guys know, maybe I defend him too much. I probably do. I probably do defend him too much. But I think he probably goes in that category, to be honest with you. Well, here, Musty, yeah, this is also the thing. Maybe this doesn't happen. Yeah, not a single goal all year is mental. Maybe this all doesn't happen in the summer. Maybe there's, maybe Grealish and Bernardo stay for 1 more year and then next season. But I'm just trying to visualize and illustrate which players don't really have a future with City. Again, it might be over the space of 2 windows. But that's going to have to happen. Just for my own thing, I'm just going to put the goalkeepers down there and do that. So again, you see what I mean. You see what I mean in terms of where City's squad currently is at from a quality perspective. We've all agreed that we have 5 stars. 5 stars in the squad right now. Which isn't enough. This may be obvious, Nob, but there aren't many diamonds and too many squad. But Dave, that's my point. This is my point. We don't have enough diamonds in the squad. And we might need to sell one of these 2 as well. Again, this doesn't mean it's all going to happen in the summer. But this is why I said there might be 10 or so players who don't have a long-term future at City. I don't think you can really argue with a lot of those, in all honesty. Add Ake to the left. I think that, yeah, if I was doing it, I would do this. If I was doing it, I would do this. Because I think you can only keep one of Stones or Ake. And I think that if you do that, then it should be Stones to go and Ake to stay. So this now brings into perspective how much of the squad needs to be rebuilt. How many, in terms of numbers, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And that is including youth players who actually may not even like get much of in terms of minutes. So now, if I just like make this slightly smaller, there, yes, and there. We now need a separate category for the positions that we need to bring into the squad. Essentially. We need a goalkeeper, first choice goalkeeper, and we need a backup goalkeeper. Because we don't have any because in terms of, again, a long-term future at this squad, we don't have any goalkeepers. So we need, obviously, to get goalkeepers. Treble year diamonds, Edison, Walker, Ake, Dia Stones, Rodri, Gundo, De Bruyne, Haaland, Bernardo, Mahrez. The drop-off is mad. Yeah, exactly. And once again, some of these players might become diamonds. A Bob might become a diamond. A Doku might become a diamond. A Savio might become a diamond. I don't know enough about Echeverry. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. So I'll reiterate just one more time because people are saying, why are you playing career mode? I'm not saying that all these players on the right will go in one window. But what I am saying is that maybe over the course of a couple windows, they may go. Potentially. I don't know how good Doyle is, but that might be a like for Stones, for example. I don't know. Bob for Bernardo, for example, is a pretty much of a straight swap because Bob is very versatile. So you can look at Bob as a Bernardo replacement. Yeah, so now we need to be practical here. So we need 2 goalkeepers, as I say. At least. In my very strong opinion, as you guys all know, we need a Gundogan replacement. Let's just call that player Bruno Guimaraes, for argument's sake, shall we? For argument's sake. But if you don't want it to be Bruno, just think of this player as a 6-8 hybrid. Essentially, the player who we probably should have signed after Gundogan left. Right? Someone who can play instead of Rodri, alongside him, ahead of him. Someone who is preferably good at box crashing. Someone who is preferably good in respect of through balls and passing in that sense. That's the sort of player that we need. In fact, I'm going to separate it even further. The players on the right are players that we should be looking to hit in the summer. Players on the left, we can hit in Jan. I want us to sign Bruno Guimaraes in January, and I don't care. Or a player like him. It simply must happen. Another area that I think is essential. So if Tchouaméni's available, bring him in. Amazing. I just have my doubts that he's going to leave Real Madrid. And until I see anything concrete, I'm having my doubts about that. But hey, if he's available, go for it, obviously. Because he's a ridiculous footballer, of course. I'd like both, to be honest. Because I'm greedy. But there we go. We need a right back. I'm signing those two positions in January at a minimum. At a minimum. Because Walker, as we've established, is going. He's done. He's finished. He's cooked. He's fried. He's overdone. We have set fire to the house cooking this man, yeah? He's done. He's so cooked and so overdone. That player needs to come in. And South access right side is centre-back. This is the thing. The player that I want is a right-back who is also capable as a right centre-back, who is also capable as a right winger. Now, this isn't a new player, because I think I've mentioned him before, but maybe I mentioned him in passing. Would you guys like me to say the player who I'm thinking of, or would you like to wait for the January video that I release where it's a bit more detailed? I guess I could just say the name and then give my explanation later. Let me know what you guys would prefer. What would you prefer? I feel like you want me to just say the name and then I can go into proper details in the Jan window. I don't really mind. I've already given up the ghost on Bruno Guimaraes. So there we go. Bro wants a Guardiola on the right. Just say it. Say it. Do the video saying that. Okay, you guys saying yeah. It's already been said, to be fair, in the chat. Sorry. Oh, he said it again. There you go. Yes. I want Singo from Monaco. I've also spoken to Alex, Euro expert of Tifo Football, because he's a big League 1 fan, and he also watched him at Torino. Again, I'll go into more detail as to why we need him. But I thought Guardiola initially. I've now pivoted. I do like him as well. But in sum, before I go into detail, at Torino, Singo played as an attacking wing-back, which is great, because that means there's a world where he can play the false winger system, and he can go to right wing, yeah? He moved to Monaco, and he's been playing as a right-sided centre-back / right-back. And he's built on his game in respect of a defending and physicality and duel-winning perspective. So this is a player who can play at right-back, he can play at right centre-back, and he can play out at right wing, potentially. I am a flip-flopper, yes. I wasn't committing either way. As I say, I was interested in Guardiola at first, but now I'm of the view that we need... I don't know. I wanted someone who's a bit more physical, I guess. I don't know. I did like Guardiola because he can also play in the midfield, but I've settled on Singer. Also, I like the idea of signing players from League 1 because they're used to dealing with a certain level of physicality, and that's another reason why I would like him. And we just need him in and around. We need that physicality and athleticism in and around the pitch everywhere. So that's who I'm going for, guys. And I'll go into more detail in the January window as to who we should sign, and I'll do proper analysis with clips and everything as to why we think we need him. So that's who I would go for. With those two positions in Jan, that's a lovely time. That is a lovely time. Ideally, we'd also get a third. Spartacus. We'd also get a third. Now who might that third be in terms of position? Probably. You're probably looking at maybe like a more offensive midfielder, potentially. But if we're being realistic, I think that's what we can hope for in Jan. So we've got January signings on the left of the halfway line, and then maybe some summer signings on the right-hand side. So what other positions do we need to sign? We need to sign another offensively minded midfielder, preferably someone who can also play in another position, whether that's out wide or whatever. Move to the left. Oh, if I move the players, so am I covering these players? Is that why? I've just put these generic squad examples here. I'm after a passing midfielder who can basically be as close to the Kevin De Bruyne replacement as possible. Whether that's Baena, Wirtz, Musiala, whoever. I've got my personal preference. But the sort of player that we are after is that, essentially. Because we discussed earlier, we need more passers in the side, especially if De Bruyne leaves, obviously. That must happen. And then, so you guys are all saying Baena. So let's, for argument's sake, let's say Baena, yeah? Picture this midfield. Box midfield. Bruno Guimaraes, Rodri, Foden, Baena. That midfield has everything. It has the best defensive midfielder in the world, so that's all your defensive work covered. It's also got Bruno Guimaraes to help win duels, and it's also a long passer in his own right. It's got a wonderful pocket player in respect of Foden, who is a fantastic ball carrier as well in the tight spaces. And then add on to that Baena, who is a wonderful passer of the ball and is also very good in respect to ball control. How good is that as a midfield? That is a midfield that wins you the title, quite frankly. And then you can have the right back at right wing, or the left back at, sorry, just punched my monitor, or the left back at left wing to do the false winger situation. So that could be Guardiola, or it could be like Singo, for example. That is an unreal midfield. And as I say, someone tell what is the weakness in that midfield? In possession anyway, at least. Out of possession, guys, Rodri, Bruno Guimaraes. That is, I think the only way that you can get better than that is having Rodri and Rice, to be honest, in terms of out of possession. So, off ball, it's one, and then in terms of like off ball, you can have like Foden push to the right or go to the striker or whoever the other player is, go to the left or striker, whatever. Excuse me, or you can play 4-5-1 and have one of them as a 10. Out of possession, sorry. It's solid out of it. It's solid off ball. It's solid on ball. That's what I'm after. Yeah? It doesn't have to be those exact players, but those profiles, that wins you the title. That wins you the title. What happens if one of them gets injured? But that's what we've got the squad for. That's why, a Bob can come in. Let's say Foden gets injured, Bob can come in. Yeah? If Bruno gets injured, then Kova can come in for a little bit. This is what you've got your rotational players for. So we definitely need... So these players are like a minimum so far. We've touched on the fact we need goalkeepers. We need a right back. We need at least 1-6-8 hybrid. We need an offensive midfielder. So far, all of this can happen across 2 windows. Because we can sign a right back and central midfielder in Jan. You only need to sign at 1 first choice goalkeeper. And you can easily get a second choice. So that's not really an issue at all. So in terms of like an actual player, so far we're only at 2 in the summer. We can get 5 starters in the summer, lads. We got 5, or was it 4 starters? We signed Danilo, Bernardo, Ederson, Mendy, Walker in the summer of 17-18. And then in Jan we signed Laporte. Now you can say Danilo is not a starter. We signed at least 4 starters in the summer of 17-18. Why can't we do it again? Answer, we can. So we definitely can do that. Let's look at what other positions that we are lacking on. What are we lacking on? What are we lacking on? So the right back's gone. That's sorted. Gundogan's gone. That's sorted. Goalkeepers. In fact, I'm just going to reorder it just so the goalkeepers are sorted. De Bruyne will never be sorted, but in as much as De Bruyne can be sorted, De Bruyne has been sorted. Bloody Pogba, you guys are such frauds. Right, what else have we lost here? Well, we've lost John Stones. He's obviously a centre-back. So what's our current defensive situation? We've got Diaz, Guardiola, Kanji. I'm going to consider Lewis more of a midfielder. Ake. New signing. And then you're going to youth players in JSP and Doyle. Let's say that maybe one of them counts as an option. So that's only 6, actually, isn't it? So we are going to, and we're already light in the defense, so we're probably going to have to bring in at least, and it's great, but by the way, you know, we want this player, to be able to play at centre-back as well, so that's the thing. But we are going to need at least one more centre-back, aren't we? Yeah, exactly, false winger. Yeah, we need a versatile forward and a versatile defender. I totally agree with that. I don't actually know who this player is, in terms of like an actual name. I can't give you a name. I haven't thought about it long enough. And it also, if we did keep Stones, then we probably won't go for that player. But we're operating under the assumption that he does go. So we will. So this centre back here, I know it says centre back, but pretend that also says versatile forward. So this right back can also play at centre back. I want the centre back to also be able to play in some other areas as well, and not just centre back. So if we did bring that player in, you know, you guys are saying, you know, Diamandi, Tar. I know that we're linked with is it Tar who plays for Valencia, who I know we're linked with. Again, no, I don't know enough about these players yet. You know, in the winter I will be doing like, you know, a lot of scouting. Again, you guys saying Bastoni, Laporte, Simicon, guys, any takers? But if we did bring in a player like that, again, this player doesn't have to be a star. I know LB's big on Chalobah, for example. You know, Chalobah can play right back, right centre back. He doesn't have to be a star defender. He just has to be someone in the mold of an Akanji in terms of like how he can play basically everywhere. And if we did do that, then we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you've got Lewis, JSP, Doyle. So question marks on whether that's enough. Question marks on whether that is enough. Is there a world where we actually do need to... It totally depends on these two. I don't watch Norwich. I don't know how... I don't know how good Doyle is, to be honest with you. I've heard lots of nice things about him, but I just don't know if it's someone that you can bank on to be a... Is he going to be good enough to be like a squad player at City? Or do we need to sign a left back? I actually don't know. Or do we sign a left back who can play as a centre-back? Again, someone like Theo Hernandez. Not saying it has to be him, because that would be a big signing. Is that the alternative? Does that solve the problem? Do we sign a player who can play left-back and centre-back? So again, no, this is left-back, but that is versatile general defender. So it could be either or. We also need to sign a versatile... Now, I'm going to put striker, but it's actually not going to be a striker. We shouldn't be signing an out-and-out number 9. That would be a mistake. Because if we sign an out-and-out number 9, then they are never going to play. What we are after is a forward who can play as a striker, but can also play in at least one other area of the pitch. At least one other area. Whether that's as a 10, whether that's as a right winger, a left winger, a defender, it doesn't matter. As long as they can play somewhere else. So Kyogo, Lookman, a name might be someone like João Pedro. I'm not saying him exactly, someone like João Pedro, because he can play wherever. There you go, Southwark said João Pedro. Because he could play as a... He could give us a different option as a striker, but he could also play in the same team as Haaland as well, whether that's behind him or whether that's to the side of him. False winger says left wing, preferably. Yeah, I don't mind. I don't really mind where that is, as long as it's somewhere. Again, striker who can also play left wing, or left wing can also play striker, whatever. Someone who can fill in for Haaland, give him some time, but also is able to coexist with him. I'd love Theo Hernandez, Spartacus. I would love him, but, you know, I don't know if we can get our hands on him. João Felix, chill. Yeah, Alvarez, sadly, Pep tried to turn Alvarez into that player, but it didn't work because he didn't have enough of those attributes. He wasn't able to adapt and become either a wide player or a midfielder. He wasn't able to do that. So that is a shame. That is a shame. So we do need that sort of player. Definitely. Duran would be good, but he does not want to be second choice. Matoma. And I think I'm not after a second choice striker. I'm looking for a versatile forward who can coexist alongside Haaland. In the same way that when I'm after a midfielder, I'm not after Zubamendi. I'm after someone who can coexist alongside him. This is why I'm not going to recommend that we sign a DM. This is why I'm going to say, no, we should not be doing that. What other positions do we need? So we've now dealt with stones, have we? 2, 4, 6. Well, one of these is technically a... let's say, but I mean, I know Bernardo's not a versatile, but you get me. Technically, we sort of replaced Bernardo when it comes to the fact that, I mean, Bob's technically replaced Bernardo in a way. So we still need to have a look at these players here. You can make an argument that Echeverry comes in for McAtee. I know they're not similar players, but in terms of like minutes, maybe be a similar thing. So maybe we don't actually need to replace McAtee. Then we've got Nunes and Grealish. So how many bodies do we actually have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Sorry, I was going to put them in like order of seniority as well, because some people might argue that we shouldn't count, young players who like non-senior players. So I'm just going to do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so we've hit 19 before getting to the youth. If you want to include the youth, we're talking 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we might need one more player. Probably. What position are we missing, lads and lasses? We're missing something here, aren't we? We are missing something. We'll come to homegrown in a second, don't you worry. In the first instance, let's just try to think about... Sorry, okay, I should have done better to label these, apologies. I'll label, in case you've just come to the stream, I'll label the boxes. Top left, these are our stars. These are the players, these are our core of players who we need to be building around no matter what. The middle box, the top middle box, these are our squad rotational options. Players who we are going to keep at the squad, at the club, but are not guaranteed. Doesn't mean they're bad, doesn't mean they're not starters, but they aren't stars. They aren't diamonds. On the right, players who we either want to go or think will go. Players at the bottom, players we want to bring in over the next few windows. So what positions do we now need, everyone? A winger, says Nax. Left wing, a winger, centre-back and a winger, left wing, centre-back and left wing. So let's have a look. So this player here, remember, can play on the wing. In this imaginary universe that we're constructing here, this player can play at left wing. This player could also, I mean, you guys said Bayern earlier. He can also play at left wing. That just throwing that out there. But in terms of other wide options, let's have a look. In terms of like out and out, no, you are a wide player rather than you can play there. We're looking at Savio, Doku, and Savio's. I want to be a right-sided player anyway. So you guys are right. We do also need a left winger. I am going to agree with that. I am going to agree with that. We need in my view, we need a senior, especially if we're getting rid of Grealish, Bernardo, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there you go, Sam Rakshak. I do agree with that. Because I like Savio, I like Doku, I like Bob. I like all of these players. I like them all. But they are relatively young, relatively inexperienced. What we need, I think, is an elite wide player. Again, preferably out at left wing. Because I'm comfortable with the depth having Savio and Bob there, and again, Doku can play there as well. So that's, again, I suggested Nico Williams in the summer, and he would have been perfect. Doesn't have to be Nico Williams, because I appreciate probably not going to get him out of Bilbao or Barca, wherever he goes. But I think that's definitely an area of the pitch that we need to look at improving, just to have a either an experienced in terms of age or experienced in terms of experience of playing at the highest level. So it could be a young winger, as long as they are experienced enough in that respect. So whoever that is, that's who I would like us to get. So, and with that, yeah, no spamming, guys. Chill, chill, chill. And with that, again, this might not happen over one window. It might take or rather, one season. It might take a couple. Rahul, thank you so much, mate, for your super chat. You said thank you for your donation. Thank you, mate. Don't just spend time. Invest it. Okay. There's a fortune for you, Rahul. Don't just spend time. Invest it. Boom. There we go. Lovely, lovely. So yeah, so we've got rid of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and we are wanting to bring in 2, 4, 6, 8. And Boomer would be very fun, Musty. Yeah, you're right. Where's KDB Green? Now, KDB's here, guys. I'll do it there. And remember that one of these is a youth player anyway. So in terms of we don't actually need to, we can just replace a youth player with another youth player. That's a thing. And again, practically, how many, outside of injuries, how many minutes was Nunes going to play anyway? One of these is a backup keeper. So let's now look at it in terms of senior players, and then we'll go to the youth players. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. So there are 20 senior first team players there, I think, because at this stage in their careers, Lewis and Bob do count as that, because they just do. They're not academy players anymore. They're just heavily involved in the first team. So we've got up to 20. And then you add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 youth players around that. One of which, people are very excited by Echeverry, for example. So he might, at some point, go into this more area where he's more of a player. In terms of just the bodies, instinctively, that feels like it's enough. Because the squad's actually gotten bigger, technically. So I don't know if we actually need to sign any more players. We've got enough forwards because we've got Haaland. We've got the versatile forwards. We've got enough options on the left with Savio and Bob. We've got enough options on the right with Samuel. Got enough options on the left with again, Savio can play there. Doku can play there. That this player obviously can play there. If you need to, Foden can play there. In terms of the midfield, we've got Rodri, we've got Bruno, I keep saying Bruno, but a player like him who can fill in for him. We've even got Kovacic, who in a pinch can do that as well, which is fine. In terms of the offensive midfielders, we've got Foden, Baena. In this world, it's Baena. Bob, potentially. Do we need another offensive midfielder? Well, we've got Echeverry. Someone will be promoted from the academy, as says false winger as well. You could argue Echeverry is also in that list of players as well. So maybe we don't need another offensive midfielder. Maybe we don't. In terms of just the central midfielders, how many do we have? We've got Lewis can play there, Kova can play there, Bruno G can play there, obviously. We might need another central midfielder. Just thinking about it. It depends what happens with Wright and O'Reilly, I guess. Because if we're talking about central midfield, so not necessarily outright attacking, not necessarily outright defending, we've got Bruno. Again, in this imaginary universe I've constructed, we've got Bruno, we've got Kovacic, we've got Lewis, and that's it. That's actually it, isn't it? I think we need another one. Or, as you say, or we bring someone in, or we rely on one of these three. O'Reilly, Peroni, or Wright. Even though Wright's more of a 6, isn't he? I don't know enough about Peroni. That's a question to be had. That's a question to be had. And I don't think that necessarily has to get addressed. I think these are all necessities. That's what I'm looking at. These are all necessities. That's a potential addition. If the young lads aren't good enough. Adam Wharton, says Harry. Maybe that's someone we bring in. Maybe another 6-8 hybrid. Someone who can play as a 6 and an 8 as well. I would like that, probably. But maybe in the first instance, maybe we could experiment with having Wright, Peroni, O'Reilly given a go. Maybe. They are both 6s, of course, yes, but they might have to learn on the job, I don't know. Maybe, again, depends what happens with Nico O'Reilly. But as of now, I think we can definitely allow that. We can definitely survive with that, you get me? And again, I think that would give us 20 plus youth players who may become more so. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So we've got to a 26-man squad, which I think is I think that's one bigger number than we had earlier. We've added, we've brought down the age of this squad as well, by the way. We've brought down the age of the squad. We've added more options. We've sorted the physicality athletics issues with the squad. And actually, it's only, we've been very harsh in terms of like the players that we have to, again, maybe Edison stays, for example, and then we only need to do one goalkeeper. You know, I've done it sort of like worst case scenario in terms of having to get rid of players. But in terms of incomings, 8 is a bit more, no, this isn't in Jan. No, this isn't in Jan, chill. At the absolute most, this is Jan and summer. It may even be another January/summer window. But we can definitely bring in at least 2 players. At least 2 players in Jan. And again, this is a backup keeper, so he doesn't even count. We can bring in 5 starters. Or 5 players of starting quality in one window. We did it in 17-18. Why can't we do it again? This isn't 5 stars, because one of these is a versatile forward who is not necessarily going to start all the time. One of them is a versatile defender who isn't necessarily going to start all the time. You can definitely do that, man. This is definitely realistic. 100%. 100%. As long as you get 2 in Jan. If you get 3 in Jan, even better. Even better. That's the way I'm looking at it, guys. That's the way I'm looking at it. I think that's perfectly fine and perfectly realistic. What do you guys reckon? Let me know. Sorry, I have been neglecting the chat. Apologies. Kudos are good for Raw. We've been saving for ages. We can probably get even more, says Shiny. Imagine we drop 500 million in the summer after we get cleared of all the charges. That will hit like crack, says Musty. Sean says, a right back, left back, central midfielder in Jan, the rest in the summer. Again, if we can get 3, that would be wonderful. We sort of need to figure out what's happening with the future of, De Bruyne, of Stones, of Bernardo, etc., etc. I'd get Bain in. Jan, he has a release clause. What is the release clause? I can't see Kev go. I don't, again, it's hard. No, we talked about it, but he might just want to go. We at least 3 in Jan. I'd like 3. See, this is tricky, Sebastian, because I've not been scouting any goalkeepers, to be honest with you. Lots of people keep saying Costa, who plays for Porto. But I don't have any strong thoughts either way. That is going to have to be something that I look into. I think the goalkeeper market is pretty poor right now in terms of like goalkeepers who you'd be comfortable, playing out and also being decent at shot stopping. So I don't actually know. I'm going to have to look into it. I still want Ederson to stay, but he seems destined for Saudi Arabia, which is such a shame. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Can't see the ball going crazy. I think they might though, Stephen, because they know that we're in a terrible predicament. They do know that. I think they might. They should anyway. They should. We need to replace Kevin, indeed. Wait, 35 million quid is the release clause. Are you kidding me? Come on, let's have a whip round, lads. Let's all have a whip round and get that sorted. Kevin would much rather decline into... Sorry, would rather retire than decline into irrelevance. Yeah, I was going to give you like 60 or so, or even more, so go for it. Yeah, I do feel like the keeper market's a bit stinky right now. A bit stinky. It looks like Liverpool have sorted their long-term future out, getting that Georgian guy who's apparently very good. I don't actually know what the solution is in that respect. That's why I would like to keep Ederson for a bit longer. We can definitely go high, absolutely. Bruno Biano would be ideal, says Drew. We can go for João Neves. He's only just joined PSG, though, hasn't he? If the keeper market's poor, I see a world where we compromise, let Ortega be number 1 for a year before reassessing. Then sign a number 2 or take it to leave. Maybe, Chris, maybe. Oh, I've been lied to. What a fraud. Chill, Toby. We want him. You can't have him. Yeah. You're such a rat. Hey, 60 mil, I don't care. If I don't care if it's in pounds, spend it. Spend it. Because we need to spend a lot of money this window. We need to spend a lot of money in Jan. We need to spend a lot of money in the summer. 100%. I don't know how much money you'd get from these 10 players. In fact, maybe let's do this. And then maybe we could talk about homegrown situation. Grealish. Again, we've got to be realistic because of the wages these guys are on. Teams probably aren't going to pay the wages. Grealish, I reckon you can get like 25 million for him. Maybe. Nunes. Again, I reckon you get around 25. I think 50 million between Grealish and Nunes is realistic. I think that's fine. Bernardo is not young anymore. So I'll say 20 mil. These are just guesses, by the way. 80. McAtee, let's say 10. I don't know. Again, I'm trying to lowball here. 90 million. Stones, 10 million. Okay? I'm lowballing. 100 million. De Bruyne on a free. Between Ortega and Ederson, you're probably looking at 30 million. So let's say 130 million. Why not? Walker going. Gundogan going. Like just on freeze or just like get rid of them. So I'm going to round it up there actually because I've lowballed massively there. 150 million, I reckon, you can generate in sales from those 10 players. So that's an average of 15 million. Yeah? I was massively lowballing. Chill. 150 million between those 10 players is perfectly realistic, yeah? Again, I'm trying to lowball. I think that's fairs. And then you bear in mind how much money we have to spend. Just in general. Never mind before all the other sales. It's a very good point, Liverpool FC TV, yeah. Wage bill is also a thing. De Bruyne is on like 400k. Grealish is on a lot of money as well. I'm sure Bernardo and Stones must be on a lot of money as well. So that's the thing. Yeah, well, I didn't even give Walker a value. I just said like 0. I just like rip up his contract at that point. 150 mil over 10 players is an average of 15 million per player. I think that is fine and that is realistic. And again, so that's going to get you... I know it's not as simple as net spend equals that because that's not how the world works. But just from a pure net perspective in that window, you're looking at 3 players, aren't you? Realistically. 3 players for around... Or let's say, again, because we've said the names now, for argument's sake, Bruno and Baena, that gets you those 2 players, as an example. If we're saying that Baena's around 60 and Bruno's around 90 to 100-ish, It gets you those two. Maybe you can Musty. I'm just massively lowballing. Massively lowballing. And then we can spend the money that we've been neglecting to spend on the rest. Yeah. That's because a second choice goalkeeper isn't going to be too much. Goalkeepers, in general, don't cost that much money. So, we're not going to be spending £100 million on a goalkeeper. We're not going to spend too much on the versatile forwards. And then, like, defenders obviously go for a little bit less. So maybe the only other big money move would be like an elite winger. Maybe. I do want us to lose the Netspend trophy. Yes, absolutely. I want hashtag make City great again. I want my oil money outrageous spending to come back. Yes. I think this is fine. Now let's have the conversation about the homegrown situation. Because I think LB mentioned that. It's a very good point. Hey, Spartacus. Thank you so much for renewing your membership, mate. Ultras Club milestone for Spartacus. A hardcore Ultra as well. Shout out to you, Spartacus. That's incredibly generous of you. There are 3 players that will be out of contract next summer. That could be very good bench players for us. 2 are short-term players and 1 is a long-term guy. Trent, Salah and Van Dijk, get them now. Oh my god. Big up to you, Spartacus, mate. As I say, it even shows what you are in that bottom left. Look at that shiny bottom left, hardcore ultra. Big up to you, mate. As I say, thank you so much for renewing your membership. That means the world. As a member, here's the thing, guys. If you click that join button or click the link in the pinned comment, you get a random footballer pull every single time you renew your membership. Your random player, Spartacus, for this month is João Moutinho. João Moutinho, big up. Decent player there. Decent. And I keep all these, by the way. I keep all these in my little Yu-Gi-Oh box. Don't worry, Liverpool. I think he was joking. Don't you worry. Okay, so what is... Complete someone, please educate me. What is the homegrown quota situation? How does that work? In terms of... Like... Is it like you have to register 25 players and an amount of them have to be homegrown? What is the... You can indeed, Spartacus, absolutely. Of course you can. That's because you're the highest tier. I mean, every member gets a free player. But yes, you also get that. That is your perk, you beautiful man. What is the exact situation with the quota? Can someone please enlighten me? How many do we need? How many do we actually need to hit? Because I'm looking at... so Foden obviously is... I don't know if Bob counts. I don't know what the rules are. Obviously, Lewis counts. You know, obviously, like, these youth players will count over here. You know, like, O'Reilly would count. JSP would count. Doyle would count. No more than 17 non-homegrown players. That's the official rule, is it? No more than 17 non-homegrown players. 8. A club's under 21 players are not included on the 25-man squad lists. A club's under 21 players, and so does that mean that if we sign a 20-year-old Frenchman, he doesn't count as not homegrown? Is that what that means? Bob does count. You guys are saying Bob counts. Okay, great. Bob's a hard one. Some people say he does, some say he doesn't. You guys are saying he does count. Rodri's lab crone. I'm just trying to... A club's under 21 players are not included and are eligible to play. Right, okay. So, yeah, so if we sign some young lads, then we're sorted. Interesting. So, for example, Savio is under 21 right now, so therefore he doesn't count. Some bullshit like that. 17 non-homegrown. No more than 17. Okay, so Rodri... Maybe it's better to do that rather than count the homegrowns. So Rodri, Diaz. So the maximum we can get to is 17. Haaland, Guardiola. So all these lads don't count. So these 4 diamonds don't count. Yeah, that's class. Yeah, Ake does count, doesn't he? You are correct. Echeverry's young, so therefore that tells me that he's not going to count as non-homegrown if he's like 19 or something. So he can go there as well. Yeah, it doesn't count this year because but next year he will, I'm guessing. So all these players are not non-homegrown. Right. Kovacic doesn't count, does he? Akanji won't count. I think, is Doku 22 nowadays? He definitely won't count. Savio next year probably will not count, or he will do that, yeah. Guardiola wasn't included in the first season as he was so young. Yeah, the rule just says 17 max. Yes, that's what I'm trying to get to, that 17. Or rather, I'm trying to not go over that 17. I don't know what's happening with Peroni. Again, I don't know how old he is. I don't know how old he is, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but everyone so far on this bottom right of this box is not going to count as a non-homegrown player next season. That's absolutely fine. That's safe. That's locked in. Question marks about Peroni, I don't know. I don't know about that. Then the question becomes, because obviously, like, we haven't really assigned names here. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that it? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, we're laughing. Hello? Hello? He's non-homegrown. What I know. Look at this, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Bosh. Boom. Perfect. That is exactly 17 non-homegrown players. And that's assuming that all these players that we sign aren't homegrown. Boom. That's it, isn't it? Yeah, we are cooking. Look at this shit. Look at that. Look at that. I'll count again. I don't think I'm missing anything here. 1, 2. Again, this is next season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we do all the players. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So even if all 8 of these players are non-homegrown, and that's a massively extreme situation, because who knows, we might sign like an English backup keeper. You know, maybe we'll get like Trafford back as a backup keeper or something. Or maybe we'll sign Branthwaite as the centre-back who can also play at left-back. He's obviously going to count as homegrown. Worst case scenario is we hit the limit, which isn't an issue, is it? And that's despite getting... How many homegrown players did we get rid of? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yo! We are cooking with gas, yeah? If he will leave, that's fine, but, you know, we're assuming that he stays for the homegrown status. There you go. This squad is realistic in respect of the time scale. It's realistic in respect of homegrown status. It's realistic in terms of the positions and profiles we need. It's realistic in terms of the distribution of stars and squad players and signings. Oh, have I made an error? You've got 26 players there, so bear in mind, once the under 21 players get to 21, you'll have one too many. What if one of the players we bring in is a homegrown player? So for argument's sake, I'm a big fan of Branthwaite for a centre-back / left-back. Let's say we signed him, or someone like him, or again, let's say we signed an English goalkeeper. Is that problem solved? Is that problem solved? Or if we just don't even include Peroni and send him out on loan again, is that also problem solved? I feel like it is. Either way, if there is an issue, it's by like a player, which is something that can easily be resolved. So not an issue at all. I'm very happy with that. I think we've absolutely smashed that there, lads. You can only register 25 players. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we don't have to register these, do we? Oh, I don't know. Either way, I think it works. Yeah, remove Peroni, then we're fine. There we go. Right. So realistically, that might happen. Yeah, let's pop him there. Boom. Sorted. Sorted. And I'll repeat. We may very well sign young / homegrown players in this 8 area. I'd be very surprised if at least one of these players did not fit that mold of either being young or homegrown or both, maybe. So I don't see that being a stumbling block at all. At all. That's absolutely fine for me. Beautiful. Lovely. Right. Nice. Bish bash bosh. Get me at least a right back and central midfielder in Jan. And get rid of at least the majority of those players on the right. Not because I hate them, just because it's time to move on, or because they're out of contract, or because they want to leave themselves. And then in the summer, we can 100%. There is no way you can convince me that we can't bring in 5 players and a backup keeper. Because a backup keeper doesn't count, does it? You could literally bring up Scott Carson if you need to. Yeah? You can definitely sign 5 in. You can definitely sign 5. Considering the squad's been neglected, we did it in 17-18 when the squad was neglected for a while. We can do it again. Make City great again. Don't forget to hashtag make City great again. Boom. Bish bash bosh. That is how City become a dominant side again. Oh, checkbook manager. Everyone spends a lot of money to win trophies. So irrelevant. In terms of like our gross cost, I wonder how much we'd have to spend. Let's not worry about sales for now. Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at Trafford as maybe backup. Who knows? Who knows? Doesn't really matter. A backup goalkeeper ain't going to cost you. Let's say that collectively, in terms of like how much are we going to spend on goalkeepers? I don't know, 40 million. Goalkeepers don't go for that much in the grand scheme of things. 50 million. Let's massively overestimate that. So 50 million on 2 goalkeepers. And that's, again, I'm overballing there. Central midfielder, I'm going to be, again, let's say 100 million. Because why not? Let's say 100 million. Or rather, let's say between a midfielder and an attacking player, let's say 150 million. Oh my gosh, they're having a baby now. Goodness me, what is going on? There we go. Yeah, so these 2 are going to cost us 150 million. Let's add on another 50 million for the goalkeepers. No, not 50 million each, collectively. Again, I'm overballing here. I'm highballing, not overballing. That's 200 million, right? No. Between the two. Remember, I'm highballing here, guys. So we've spent 200 million on those 4 players. Let's say, I don't know, between the versatile striker and versatile defender, that's, and a right back, let's say that's 100 million. So what we're working with there, 300 million, and then a proper elite winger, I don't know, like another 50 million or something. 350. Let's round it up. 400 million. Let's go crazy. 400 million gross. Yeah? And I lowballed earlier, and I came up with around 150 million for these lads. So that means, again, I know the football isn't just net spend, I know it's not this simple, but from a net spend perspective, over those 2 windows, that is 250 million spent. Now that sounds like a lot, but remember, we are notoriously winners of the net spend trophy. We have the money to spend. We are so good and easy from a like PSR perspective. We've got money to burn. So spending 250 net is nothing to City. Nothing. Given the circumstance that we're now in. And I remember, I lowballed and I've highballed here. It's probably going to be closer to like maybe 150, 200 million net. That is all fine and dandy and lovely, in my opinion. Spartacus, chill, mate. Chill. So either way, it's realistic, it's fine, it's lovely, and I don't think that's unreasonable at all. If we can get 3 players in Jan, even better, obviously. Right. I'll be live for another 10. Yeah, that's probably about right, Elder, isn't it? And then maybe if you like sell these for 200, you're looking at like 250 mil net, maybe. I'll be live for like another 10 minutes or so. My widget is still broken. Yeah, my widget is still not 100% fixed, as you can see. It's not quite working. It's not quite updating the profile pictures. It's nearly there, though. We're nearly there. I just need to... There you go, Spartacus, you there? Oh, your profile picture should be there. Apologies. I'll try to fix that. There you go. LB, top super chatter. Big up. And I think this will be Huang, is it? Oh, no, it's Rahul. Oh, later super chat. Yeah, big up. There we go. Unreal scenes. Real talk, 3 in Jan is almost impossible. 2 isn't, though. But 2 isn't. And if it's 2 in Jan, it can be 5 plus a backup backup keeper in the summer. 100%. 100%. Definitely. Or maybe we keep Stones and Ake. I don't know. Oh, hoo, hoo. Widget spinner, yes indeed. A broken widget. Try and create a first 11 with what you have. Okay. We can do that. We can do that. Okay. So let's move this, use my stars, yeah? So now, yeah, you guys, so we've decided we don't need these players. These players are more than likely going in the bin. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, lads. You guys are squad options, so I'll just pop you here for now, but you may well end up starting. And let's make this first team then, shall we? You guys were there. It was I won you. Oh, guys, I'm getting a cold. I can feel it coming. You know when you start to get the swelling in the back of your throat. Ugh, vile. Right, okay, so here is the team. I'm going to do in possession. So obviously a goalkeeper. Whoever that is. I don't know who that is. This will be like this can be like the bench, yeah? Let's get my diamonds in play, yeah? I'm going to play a box midfield because that's my favourite. That sort of vibe. Again, don't pay too much attention to it. Right. I would have, let's say, again, just for the general construct of this team, Savio, right wing. New 10 there. Again, you can mix and match. You can put a left winger there and have Singer there. It doesn't matter. You get me? We're going to have... In fact, shall we do that? Because that might be a bit more fun. Let's do that. Should we put... No, I won't right centre-back now. I changed my mind. That's the right back / right centre-back. Don't worry about that. Midfielder there. And then we need that versatile defender, left back / left centre-back. And we got those players on the bench. There we go. 3-2-2-3. Look at that team. So in terms of a starting 11, worst case scenario, all those players go. We're looking at 5. You want Bob right wing here? It doesn't matter. We can have Bob there if you prefer. We're looking at bringing in 5 players there. In terms of like starters, like based on this team that I've just made there, incorporating all my stars and like 1 rotational option. Again, you could play like it doesn't even. In fact, it doesn't even have to be that, does it? Because you could play Ake there. That's fine as well. You can even play like a Kanji there. You get what I mean? Please don't take Savio off the team. Well, Spartacus is the hardcore ultra, so his say is final. So actually, again, it doesn't even have to be. So I could pop in Ake there and get rid of, having to sign a new starter. These 2 positions are non-negotiable. And this position is also non-negotiable. And if we're getting rid of Edison, I guess this position's also non-negotiable. Nice. Nice. Bob could also work in midfield, 100%. Yeah, that could also be a thing. But look at that. That's a good team. That's a good team. If you want to get rid of the box, that's fine. We can go 3-1-6. Let's be honest. We all know Pep's going to do that next season anyway. Boom. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Nice. This is just for illustration, Chris. If you want our left winger to go there, that's absolutely fine. You can just do that. And then, probably want like a kanji. There. This is for illustration purposes, rather than getting too caught up on it. It's just to illustrate the point. Look at that. Look at that. That's really nice. That's a very nice team. Very happy with that. There you go. We can have a kanji there. Bosh. Bish, bash, bosh. Sorted. Or the other versatile defender. Again, this is purely for illustration purposes. So you could have, like, you know, new left back versatile defender there as well. Yeah? It's a thing. Doesn't really matter. It's for illustration purposes. Either way, you can make a really nice team there. And, yeah. That's pretty good, isn't it? Whether it's 3-2, whether it's 3-1-6. I reckon you waffling, shut up. Duo signings. Okay, so pretend. So just because I don't know who the left winger is. So pretend for a moment. Bear with me here. Savio there. Again, it could be Savio, it could be Bob. It doesn't matter who's out on the right. It's fine. Pretend that the goalkeeper is someone competent. I don't know who. Again, that's the one position I can't give you a name for. Pretend that's Singo. Yeah? Right back who can play right back, right centre back, and even right wing if you need to. Pretend that is Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah? Box to box, all phase, 6'8" hybrid, pass first player, also great at carrying it, also great in terms of covering space for Rodri and dual winning and second ball winning. Pretend that is Baena. Yeah? Ah, fantastic ball control, great in the pockets. Also a wonderful high volume passer. Yes? Look at that team. Look at that midfield, man. Look at that midfield and tell me that that is not, like, up there as, like, they've been, like, the best midfield in the world. Come on. Come on. Think about it, out of possession as well. Oh! I'm going to have to, Jack, I think. The defense is fantastic. Solid. If you don't want Ake there, then this player can come in. That works as well. If you want to change it so that you got the actual left wing out on the left and then Singo out to right wing, that works as well. It does not matter. Look at that. Look at that team. Sure, Musty. That is a title-winning team. It is a title-winning team. Definitely. 100% that wins. That should win you the title. And again, you can change it. If you don't want Savio in there, if you're not comfortable with Guardiola pushing up to left wing, even though I am, personally, then you can do that, can't you? And then, like, Akanji or versatile defender, and then whoever that left winger is. Boom. Literally, that midfield, in terms of, like, because I know Real Madrid have better names than that midfield, but in terms of function, what midfield is better than that? Certainly none in the Premier League. It might just be the best, to be honest, from an actual playing football perspective. Yeah. It's really nice. It's really nice. Treble system, so same idea, just slightly different. You can have a 3-2 like that. It doesn't really matter how the box is formed, so long as it is formed. Or alternate, you can go crazy. You know, if you really wanted, you can go crazy. If we just do that for a second. And let's say Ake's there. And let's say we're dropping this random player here. Where's my Guardiola? Guardiola's John Stones. He'd need to learn that, obviously, but he can do it, I'm sure. Guardiola pushes up. Now Bruno goes slightly higher. New left winger's there. And an actual right winger there. Look at that team. Look at that team. Look at that team and tell me where the weakness is. Guardiola would have to learn how to be John Stones. I accept that. But you asked me for the exact treble winning system. I think Guardiola's got it in his bag to do that. I think he can be coached to do that. You advance, Bruno G. So you don't lose like the out of possession work. You still got the passing as well. You want Doku at left wing? Okay. There you go. Defense is biscuits. What? Lads, well, first of all, look at my rest defense. Look at my rest defense. Look at my 3-2. There is nothing defensively concerning there. No. That is as solid as a rock. Let's have a look at that defensive situation off ball. Remember, the central midfielder in this case is Bruno G. Bosh. Look at that. Look at that. Again, it could be new right back over Akanji if you want. It could be new versatile defender over Ake if you want. But in terms of like actual names, this that is lovely. That is lovely. And if you don't like Ake there because he's injury prone, then that's why we signed a left back. I accidentally just deleted him. Oh my goodness. Then sign a left back. Yeah? If you don't want a Kanji there, that's fine. This is why we brought in Singo. All injury prone. Ake is the only injury prone one there. Hello? And even then, as I say, just bring in the other left back that we brought in, or the versatile defender. Nice. Yeah. Right, guys. That was the stream. Very well attended. Thank you so much, LB, to the raid. I will be doing a transfer. Although, to be fair, we have discussed a lot about who I think we should be bringing in. So it won't really be a surprise in terms of like, the players who I'm suggesting. However, it might hopefully reassure some of you guys that, you know, we should be looking to sign him because he's good or whatever. Exactly, yeah, Dave. I'm sorry, but that team should win the title, and it should win it. It should definitely win it. If everyone could please leave a like on the video, if you haven't already done so, that would be lovely. It'd be great if we could get to over 200 likes. We are at over 300 people watching. Please, could we, before I go, please could we get to over 200 likes, please? That would be lovely. Thank you so much. If possible, that would be great. When's the video coming out? I imagine that it will probably drop maybe when the January window opens. It's like maybe the 1st of Jan is the target. That would be the idea. There's not going to be an analysis video of the Manchester derby. I talked about it to death the day before, and yesterday in general, and I've said what I want to say on it. It's not because I'm scared, because I've got to talk about it. It's probably because I'd make the video, and I think I'd probably get a lot of hate from it, because I don't think United were particularly good. But people like to do results-based analysis, so I don't know if I can even be bothered to deal with that grief. So we'll do one after the Villa game, regardless of results, and that'll be fine. There we go. Thank you so much to everyone for joining me. I will be back. When will I be back? I don't know, actually, because City don't play until Saturday, do they? We always do a Touchline talk on the Friday. We will be live on Twitch at some point this week. It's not football over on Twitch, necessarily. There's more gaming going on the Twitch. It's just a bit of fun. It's a less serious environment. So we're doing a great WWE game, and it's my pay-per-view coming up. Yeah, I'm the general manager, and it's my pay-per-view coming up. So make sure to tune in for Judgment Day. Yeah, because it's going to be a sick show. So go follow the Twitch if you haven't already done so. And I'll be back at some point. Shout out to everyone for watching, of course, but also shout out to these beautiful people who actually gave me money, which is insane. Thank you so much. Thank you to Huang Trung with a very generous £5 super chat. Thank you very much to LB, of course, my boy. Shout out to Rahul Raj And shout out to Spartacus, who has made another milestone in the Ultras Club. And is a hardcore Ultra. That is my boy. Thank you so much for your support as always. Shout out to everyone, of course. Thank you for your support as always. And I will see you later in the... how much do I make off Super Chats? I don't actually know, to be fair. I know that in memberships, I get 70% and YouTube keeps 30%. I'd expect it would be a similar thing. So if someone Super Chats £10, I expect I'd get to keep 7. I don't know what it is exactly, though, in all honesty. I don't know what it is exactly. But there we go. Yes, thank you so much. And also, shout out to all these lovely people. Shout out, there you go. Shiny Espion, shout out the Pokemon fan, has just followed the Twitch. Because that alert just happened. That's how I know people follow the Twitch. So shout out to Shiny Espion. And shout out to KL Cald Exter for doing that as well. And also, shout out to all these beautiful people. All these beautiful people are all of my beautiful members. Spartacus, for example, you get a gold name because you're here as a hardcore ultra. And shout out to everyone. All these beautiful boys and girls. But mainly boys, to be honest with you. But there we go. That is the situation. And I'll try to sort out the widget issue. But we're getting there. We're so close for the widget being finalized. And then in the new year, guys, we are going to go hard in terms of the data. You've seen it. You've seen bits and bobs. You've seen bits and bobs. Like, for example, if you follow the Twitter, you'll know that I've been doing a little bit of that. If you remember, you'll know a bit of that. We're going to go hard in terms of getting interesting data to chat about and to try and improve the analysis videos. Thank you so much, everyone. We're only 6 away from getting over 200. Can we do that? Only 4 away from getting over 200. Can we... Last rallying call, guys, before I shoot off. Is there a world where we can do that? How will I celebrate? I'll do a marathon stream, I reckon. I'll do a marathon. Can we get like 4 or 5 more in the chat, please? And then I will let you go. No one can leave until we've got over 200 likes. That is the rule. Yeah? That is the rule. Can we make that happen? Can we make that reality? Yeah, come on. Come on, guys. Let's push it. Push it back up. I've not asked for likes as much as I would normally do because I'm very annoying when it comes to that. Right, it says we've got 197. We only need 4 more. Well, 3 more to get to 200. Come on. You can do it, lads. Starshine's a girl. Big up to you, mate. Big up to your mother. Marathon, baby. Hell yeah. Maybe we'll do like I haven't done a charity stream in years. Maybe we'll do that one. We did a charity stream for Mind years ago. Years ago in like 2020 or 2021. That was very fun. There we go. We're over 200. Thank you guys so much for that. Yeah, but you can all go now. You can all go now. Thank you so much to all my members. Thank you to my super chatters. Thank you to my viewers in general. Thank you to everyone for giving me your time today, because that is a lovely situation. I'll be back, of course, so make sure to stay tuned. Until then, thank you so much. As always, have a lovely evening.